Gotta go fast.
Have you ever been so stressed that it's hard to maintain focus on important goals? It's hard to see sometimes what lies directly in front of you. It's hard to juggle the many things that life is throwing your way. I remember one point, I was juggling the pressures of doing everything right at a new job, making sure my wife was happy, making sure my children had everything they needed, prioritizing many projects that I had going on at one time, moving from one house to another, preparing for my third child to be born, and trying to maintain focus on my schoolwork so that I don't fall behind. I heard the rapper Eminem once say, "On the surface, he looks calm and ready." And you see, that's exactly how I appear to be to people. I appear to be very cool, very calm, very collected. I appear to have everything under control. People used to tell me all the time, "Wow, you're able to handle things so effortlessly." Or they would say things like, "How do you do it, Torian?" And I would simply smile and say quietly to myself, "If they only knew." So it was obvious to those people that I appeared to handle all of the stress and the demands of life that life presented me with. But little did they know that I was plunging under the pressure, that I was sinking in the sea of stress, that I was dehydrated from being in the desert of demands. There were nights when I didn't sleep a wink, not because I chose to stay up and study, but because there were so many things on my mind that I could not find myself sleep. I don't know if you've ever been that stressed, but I'm talking about a level of stress that in an attempt to remove something from my plate, school became an instant thought. It was too much. There were too many exams. There were too many assignments. There were too many demands, and there were too little time to complete it all in. I felt like rather than growing, I was diminishing, simply fading away. And it seemed that no one cared enough to dig deeper than the basic question of, how do you handle it? At one point, I felt like school was pointless. There was nothing there for me. It was too difficult to maintain good grades. I felt like I could simply rely on my personality and my charm to score a high-paying job. A job that I could get right then and not have to complete multiple years of school to get it. I began to feel entitled, that the world owes me something and that they should take it easy on me if I decided to drop out of school. But then I realized something. I realized that the world didn't care about me, that everyone in the world was too busy chasing their own dreams and chasing their own success to care enough to see if I needed help with mine. I realized that while there are some genuine caring people in this world, everything you go through is a situation you have to deal with. Not mom, not dad, not someone from the street, or anyone. It's about how you deal with the stress and the demands that life gives you. And in that moment, my life changed completely. I wasn't relying on anyone to do anything that was mine to do. I stayed up late. I studied. I read. I wrote. I sacrificed. I did everything that I was supposed to do. I was no longer entitled. Quitting never entered my mind at that point. I was on a mission, not just to show the world that I can do it, but to prove to me that I can do it. Listen to me. I went from being academically dismissed my freshman year in college to being months away from achieving my PhD. Listen, let me give it to you again. I went from being in the bottom 3% of my college to the top 3% nationwide with a prestigious research degree. Now, I don't say this to brag to you. What I'm telling you is that when you make up in your mind that your success is more important than your cell phone, when you make up in your mind that your success is more important than sleep, when you make up in your mind that your success is more important than watching TV, then there is nothing in this world that can stand in the way of your success. Not one thing can stop you. I heard someone once say that it is impossible to stop a man or a woman that refuses to quit. So throw me in the ring with Mike Tyson. Throw me in the ring with Floyd Money Mayweather, someone with more experience than me, someone stronger than me, someone with more skills than me. But if I refuse to quit, then there's no way they can beat me. I can only defeat myself. Now that's the same mindset you have to have when it comes to the stress and the demands of school. Look school square in the eyes and tell it, you may be tougher than me, you may be smarter than me, you may be bigger than me, but I refuse to quit, and therefore you will not beat me. And so let me give you a few things, just a couple of things to consider when it comes to dealing with being in stress or stressful situations and the demands of life. Let me just give you a few things to think about. The first thing is to take time for yourself. Now, what I mean here is that you are the number one priority in your world. If you don't take care of yourself, then you won't be well enough to take care of the things that you have to do. Think about a vehicle. The job of a vehicle is to get you from point A to point B. However, if you don't take care of that vehicle by adding fuel, by checking the oil levels, by changing the tires and etc., then I promise you, eventually it will stop. And that is how your body and your brain works. You got to take care of yourself. Huffington Post writes that taking time to pause from the relentless pace of everyday life and enjoy creative activities that keep you from dwelling on or stressing over school pressures can go far in decreasing your stress levels. The second thing that I need you to understand, watch this. Learn to change your thinking. A philosopher once said that you cannot get stressed out unless you believe your thoughts. He says, all stress is precipitated by stressful thinking. In other words, he's saying, if you constantly think about being stressed, then naturally you're going to become stressed. The moment you begin to stress about not finishing a project or an assignment on time, then your mind will begin to visualize what could or will happen, which can what? Create unnecessary stress. So how do you handle this? Well, by thinking of specific examples that can counter those stressful thoughts. Think of ways that you can create the time needed to finish that project instead of thinking that you'll never have enough time. Because if you change your thinking, watch this, your ways will follow. The mind is one of the most powerful things known to man. That's why you heard the phrase mind over matter. Now, the third thing that I need you to understand is this. Learn to eat your elephant one bite at a time. What I mean is, learn to chunk up your work into smaller, manageable, bite-sized portions. This way, you'll feel less overwhelmed, less stressed, and have less demands placed on you. The best way to do this is by listing the things you have going on, as well as listing the estimated time each one of those things will take. Now, once you're done, what you're left with is a lot of small, easy, manageable tasks instead of one large, daunting task. So learn to eat your elephant one bite at a time. Now, the fourth thing, the last thing that I need you to understand is this. Lower your goals. All right, now stay with me. Lower your goals. Now, what I mean is, I don't want you to become a slacker, or I don't want you to decide that you're not willing to push yourself. What I mean when I say lower your goals is, if you lower your goals, you'll achieve more. So as an example, watch this. Let's say you are a D average student that has the desire to pull up your grades to an A. Now, shooting for an A is great, but think about how stressful that is going to be for you to go from a D all the way to an A. Lowering your goals simply means instead of shooting for the A right now, go from a D to a C. This is a much more realistic goal. Now, once you've earned that C, then go from a C to a B, and then work yourself up to the A. Chris Carr was once quoted by saying, if you don't think your anxiety, depression, sadness, and stress impact your physical health, think again. All of these emotions trigger chemical reactions in your body, which can lead to inflammation and a weakened immune system. So in other words, he says, learn how to cope because there will always be dark days. So don't allow stress to get the best of you, but instead work hard to beat stress. Always, number one, take time for yourself. Number two, learn how to change your thinking. Number three, eat that elephant one bite at a time. And number four, learn to lower your goals just slightly. This is how you can manage and deal with the stress of being a student and having a lot on your plate.
I'm sorry, Major. What was your name?
Benny. Nobody cares.
Meow.
Okay, pal, I want to basically look like a savior plan.
Oh, is that all you got?
No, but thank you for asking.
Uh-oh.
Whatever this creature is, our job is to secure it, neutralize it, see what makes it tick.